All right, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? I want to welcome you all back to episode 2 of the Jordan Rules podcast, man. Just want to thank everybody for tuning into the first episode. If this is your first time tuning in, man, you in for a good one. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. Selection Sunday just ended. So we'll talk about my predictions for the tournament. It's a big week for NFL, a lot of trades, a lot of guys signing, making a lot of money. Some teams making some questionable decisions, some teams making some good decisions. Y'all main man, Tom Brady, he's not a big fan of his wife and children because he said he's coming back to play football again. So we got a lot of stuff to cover on this episode. Lebron had like another 50 ball this week. Russell Westbrook keeps pooping the bed. I think they just got their heads beat in by the Suns. As a matter of fact, I don't know if that game is over yet, but when I turned it off, oh yeah, they got 30 balled by the Suns. LeBron joins the 10,000 club, only player in NBA history to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happened since our last episode, so without further ado, we're going to get right into it. All right, so my Washington Commanders fans, we're no longer the Washington football team, so if you are a fan of Washington football, bear with me a little bit. We can count on Washington sports to let us down one more time. Matter of fact, one of my dying wishes, whenever that may be, one day when I'm old and gray and I'm having my funeral, I want members of Washington football team or the Washington Commanders, whatever their name is, whenever I die, I want members of that team to be the pallbearers at my funeral so they can let me down one last time. All right? 'Cause these guys, I just don't know what the deal is. So, trade for Carson Wentz from Indiana. I think we gave up a second rounder and a third rounder. And the third rounder has a chance to turn into a second rounder based on how many snaps he plays or something like that. So with that being said, do we still draft a quarterback? You know me. Anybody knows me knows I'm a Malik Willis guy. I don't know what we got to do, but I think Malik Willis could be our quarterback of the future, should be our quarterback of the future. But, Carson Wentz isn't horrible. He's not great, but he's not horrible either. You know what I'm saying? Carson Wentz is solid, and he'll be the best quarterback that Terry McLaurin ever had, and he'll be the best Washington quarterback in my recent memory. Shout out to Alex Smith, because that dude was out there playing with one ligament in his knee, and his knee was a fragment of what it should have been. Like, most people can't walk off of what that is, but to him to be a starting quarterback and be consistent is a miracle nonetheless. So shout out to that. But for Carson Wentz to be our quarterback of the future, or I just don't know what our ceiling is of that. Are we trying to compete for the division title, or are we, what does that solve? What does Carson Wentz solve? Because my honest opinion, I just think, I don't know. What are the other options? Granted, like at the time of the trade, nobody knew that Deshaun Watson stuff will be cleared or what have you. But I just don't think, me personally, I'm not a big Carson Wentz guy. It is what it is. So, tailing that into the Deshaun Watson news. So Deshaun Watson was cleared of all criminal charges. He still has 20-something civil cases, but his criminal charges were dismissed, or he wasn't indicted. So, that means that further evidence is a chance he could be indicted somewhere down the line, but as of right now, he doesn't have any criminal charges for those sexual misconduct vibes. And my opinion on Deshaun Watson on that side of things is that I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent. I don't have any dog in that fight. I'm not sure Deshaun Watson is guilty or innocent. And everybody that knows me knows I'm a believe first kind of guy. So I'm always going to take women's sides of things as far as that aspect goes. But I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. But I'm saying anybody that goes to 25 different massage therapists is up to no good. He's doing something unusual. You know what I'm saying? If you went to 25 different barbers, would you know what I'm saying? If somebody went to 25 different barbers, would you trust them? I wouldn't. I just think that's a little shiesty. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, if your girlfriend go to 25 different nail techs, she let 25 different women do her nails. You know what I'm saying? Something ain't adding up. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's weird to me. But moving on. On the football side of things, dude is great. Dude is talented. Our top 5, top 3 quarterback in the league right now in terms of actual football ability. He's got a rocket on his arms. He can move a little bit, a lot of it actually. And so I got friends that are Eagles fans that don't think he's that much of an upgrade over Jalen Hurts. So put your political feelings, your indifferences towards whatever character issues and stuff he might have off the field aside. He's a better football player than Jalen Hurts. Deshaun Watson is better than Jalen Hurts at every aspect of football at the quarterback position. Accuracy at all 3 levels, short, medium, short, intermediate, deep throws. He's better than him at throwing the football. I think he's a better runner. Just Jalen Hurts is going to run you over because he's Black Tim Tebow, whatever. But Deshaun Watson is better than him at that aspect of football. So it is what it is. So the Texans are going to move him somewhere. My prediction is somewhere in the NFC South. I see Carolina throwing the house at him. I see the Saints trying to throw something at him. And my preference, I would like to see him in New Orleans. I think that would be awesome. Moving forward with New Orleans, and I think they're going to have a similar system. Like to see what Michael Thomas does coming back from injury. Now he's had a whole year to heal. You know, who knows? So that's not exactly a bad situation for him to come into. Moving on to other topics, Khalil Mack was traded from the Bears to the Chargers, and that gives the Chargers, in my opinion, the best 1-2 pass rushing punch in the NFL with Bosa and Khalil Mack, and I think that's actually terrifying, especially in the division. And when you think about it, the AFC West, that division now with the Russell Wilson trade to the Broncos is, when you think of the 4 quarterbacks, what other division in football has 4 guys that can throw the ball like those guys? And, you know, one of these things is not like the others. You know, Derek Carr stinks, but I think that is interesting nonetheless, because you think about 2 guys who really just get after the quarterback relentlessly. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that contract is nasty work. I think he's getting a lot of money, but the cap's going up, so there's ways to wiggle around that. And if anybody can do it, I mean, plus it's Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a great vibe. At the very least, the Chargers are going to be an entertaining football team to watch. All right. Moving on. So Dallas trades Amari Cooper to Cleveland, to wide receiver purgatory, to play with Baker Mayfield for a bag of chips, a bus pass, and a Golden Corral gift card. Amari, listen, that is wide receiver purgatory. Cleveland, first of all, Cleveland's a horrible city, which I don't know if this will affect me getting a college job somewhere. I hate Cleveland. It's one of the worst places I've ever been. Was that Joakim Noah clip when he's like, does anybody go to Cleveland for vacation? Yeah. So how long do you think it takes for the Amari Cooper tape to come out? Amari Cooper's dad drops a video of Baker Mayfield missing and wide open because, man, Baker Mayfield is stealing money. Baker Mayfield. But you know what? You people did that when y'all posted that training camp video of Baker Mayfield doing the nay-nay or dancing or something. And they were like, oh, yeah, this guy's the one. He's not. Baker Mayfield is fraudulent. And you just sent one of, and in the grand scheme of things, Amari Cooper is the top 5 route runner in the NFL. I don't think he's a top 5 wide receiver, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I think he's worth more than a 5th and a 6th round pick. You just traded this guy for two dudes that, it's when you start getting late round of the draft, you start, it's hit or miss, and who knows. So, granted, again, that contract's probably nasty work. So, but I don't know what Dallas Cowboys are doing. And then they just signed Gallup. They gave Gallup $60 million, and the Chargers gave Mike Williams $60 million. So the cap's going up. So you're just going to see guys to get money that I don't think they quite deserve. But with the cap increasing, they're going to see more and more deals like that. So, but I think the big news of today was definitely Tom Brady coming back. So when you think about how that changes the scheme of things, like Vegas is updating the odds as we speak probably, but Tom Brady coming back. So I seen a tweet to say he started helping his kids with his homework and said, I can't do this. I'm going back. One argument with the wife, he said, I'm going back to work, man. Y'all blowing me. So I think, I think wherever Deshaun Watson ends up going, it's going to affect how Tom Brady finishes his career. If I was him, how long, what's the point at this point? Like, what are you playing for? He says the tweet said like unfinished business. Like, you had 7 championships. Like, just ride off into the sky. Like 2 years ago, you just rode off the seventh one and just called it a quit. Like, come on, bro. Like, you just out here annoying people at this point. So. And then I saw something on eBay, like some dude bought his last touchdown ball for like $500,000, and it's not even gonna be his last ball. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's good for the NFL. It's good for football. I think Brady is. Who at some point in time, like you're gonna think about who was the face of the NFL, and somebody has to be it. Why not Tom Brady? So I'm not for or against it. Like I said, I'm a Washington fan, so it is what it is. But I don't think it's bad for the NFL. I think it's good. That's great publicity. That's the thing we need. I think anything to take the spotlight away from Aaron Rodgers, because I hate that guy. So all right. So we're going to change the page a little bit. We're going to turn into baseball, right? So the MLB and Major League Baseball Players Association has come to some sort of middle ground, and we're going to have baseball, and we're going to have baseball soon. I think teams have guys reporting to facilities, and I'm excited, man. America's pastime, man. Everybody knows me. I'm a huge baseball guy. So catch me on that first base foul line with 2 brews and a pretzel. I'm excited. I don't have any predictions right now how I see the season is ending, but it's like, man, after all the collective bargaining agreements, and I think one of the major announcements was that both leagues are going to have DHs, and that's great for baseball too. With the exceptions of Shohei, nobody wants to see these pitchers after bat. Nobody. These dudes, like, nobody wants to see these guys that never swing the bat take at-bats. I think it's pointless. So why not have the guys that are good at those things do it? So that's okay for me. I think they're talking about taking away, when we get the extra innings, you start with a guy on second base. I think they're taking that back away, which I thought was so stupid anyway. So I think there's going to be some great changes to the game of baseball, and who's not excited to see baseball back, man? I'm stoked, actually. All right, and changing things back to the NBA side of things. The other night, Bron had a 50 ball against the Wizards, and Kyle Kuzma's return to LA. It's like a clip. Bron gets a dunk, and Winnie Harlow, Kyle Kuzma's girlfriend, is staring at him after that. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that Bron is doing this. I think it's sad at the same point that he has to do this for the Lakers to win games. I just think now it's easy to blame Russell Westbrook for all the Lakers' problems. It's easy to say, oh, he was a bad fit. Bron doesn't know hoops. He's a horrible GM. He just wanted to throw another guy in there and figure it out. That's the cop-out, in my opinion. Yes, Russell Westbrook has not been a great team player, like a good puzzle piece. Not to say he's not a great player. Russell Westbrook is one of the most talented basketball players ever. We talk about a guy, the triple-doubles, the accolades, the talent is there. Shot selection is god-awful. He shoots one of them bank jumps off the backboard every game. He shoots an air ball every game. He smokes layups every game. We get it. In the grand scheme of things, it's easy to say Russell Westbrook is the problem and he's got to go. Agreed. He do got to go. But nobody expected Anthony Street Clothes Davis to be hurt this often. Bron put this roster together. Bron, Pelinka, and all these guys got together, and this is the conclusion of this is how much this. Listen, and every team in the NBA will do the same thing will trade it for the one championship. Nobody's tripping off that, but I think that it's just nobody expected Anthony Davis to be this hurt. He's got to take some of this heat. Got to fall on him. Yo, you shouldn't be expecting Bron in his 19th year to have to put up 50-point games to beat the Wizards. You know what I'm saying? It was a run. The Wizards was up 9 going into the third. Or midway through the third, the Wizards was up 9. Bron gets hot, goes on a huge run by himself. He scored 12 or 13 straight for them to take the lead. I'm like, bro. And listen, stamped. Bron is my GOAT. Shout out to people that think Mike is the GOAT. It's Bron. Based off this longevity, it's Bron. But it's just not fair for him to have to carry this workload. No other superstar has to do it. And shout out to KD, because KD had a 50 ball today, 53 against the Knicks. It was the Knicks stink. And he's holding his own. So I think Harden was quick to pull the trigger to get up out of there. But it's no other superstar, in my opinion, has to pull the weight that Bron does. And that's unfair to him, man. Quite frankly. But I think moving forward, the Lakers are gonna have to figure out something to do. Well, I don't see them winning the championship this year. I think it's gonna come down to Phoenix, Golden State, Philly, or Brooklyn, with the Bucks on the outside looking in. I'm not buying Milwaukee. I got a personal vendetta with Giannis. I think the NBA lets him run people over and travel to the basket at an egregious rate. That's not even hoops, bro. The NBA lets the biggest, strongest, fastest guy, I'm talking about a guy who's 7 foot, cut up like a bag of dope, run people over and travel to the basket, and there's no calls. Somebody posted a thread, and the thread was all of the calls for Giannis. I'm talking about he gets to run dudes over all game long, put his shoulder down, run up, throw the ball up, dunk. He's getting free throws all game. Now, as a current 76ers fan and a James Harden stan, I'm not crying about the free throw bait, because Embiid and Harden are the worst at it. I think them dudes shot 38 free throws today in an overtime win against the Magic. I'm talking about down to the balls to the walls, try as hard as we can, scrape out, knock out, drag out, fight, win against the Magic. Embiid and Harden were shooting free throws all night long. Matter of fact, Embiid and Harden at one point was like, what the fuck? Fruit fly or something in this jump? Embiid and Harden at one point was they was 10 for 45 or 10 for 42 or something ridiculous. These guys are awful in terms of their aspect of getting to the bucket. Their game is horrible. When Harden is not making jump shots, it's hard to watch. So I say all that to say, LeBron's doing a lot with a little bit, and I don't see them getting out of the first round. They're going to get matched up with Phoenix again. It's not going to end well. They're going to get matched up with Warriors again. The Warriors are going to shoot them out of the gym. The Warriors, they've got it figured out a little bit. Draymond's been hurt. Once Draymond comes back, the Warriors are going to be nasty. So those my Western Conference Finals. I'm Phoenix and Golden State. Eastern Conference Finals, I'm going Brooklyn and Philly, depending on, however the bracket ends up, however it depending on how that ends, how the play-in games go, depending on, that all that stuff comes into fruition. But that being said, something happened today that really caught my attention. So, Kyrie, so the New York City law is they've removed vaccine and mask mandates, but it's like a private sector rule or something like that. Employees have to be vaccinated or something, but visitors and people like that can come into the arena. So Kyrie buys courtside seats to the game, sits courtside, no mask, and just sits there and watch the game. KD drops 50. KD drops 53, and they beat the Knicks. I can borrow. I had a water bottle in this jump. All right. Anyway, so KD has a 53-point game, and they beat the Knicks, and Kyrie sat there, unvaccinated, but he can sit courtside. I think he's doing that just to prove a point, how silly that rule is. And whether you're pro-vaccine or not, I think that's absolutely crazy that the dude can sit in the gym, but he can't play. So something's going to be done about that. I would be very surprised if he does not play and they have a home game in the playoffs. Very surprised if that hasn't getting resolved by that. Speaking of that, he had a 50-point game the other night against Charlotte, and he only missed like 4 shots. God mode. Only 3 people have had a 50-point game with that much efficiency in NBA history. Is Kyrie, Wilt, and Mike. Disgusting. But that brings me back to this point of Harden and Embiid. Harden and Embiid play some of the hardest basketball to watch. It's like, and listen, in my honest opinion, as a basketball coach, as a former player, getting to the free throw line is a skill. Getting to the free throw line and making free throws is a skill. But if that's what your game is based off, if that is your primary skill, is I get to the free throw line, I get to the foul line. When the other aspects of your game are falling off, like tonight, Harden couldn't make a jump shot. Embiid settling for jump shots. You can't make jump shots. I'm living off the free throw line. At some point, the whistle doesn't blow. There are referees, and the NBA refs are the best in the business. Out of all levels of sports. I coach high school basketball. High school refs, boy, that's the worst part about high school basketball. High school refs. College refs, step up. NBA refs, oh my God. NBA refs are the best in the business, but they miss calls. Do you know the NBA posts out their little raggedy 2-minute review and they talk about calls they missed during the game? It happens. So if your whole game is based on getting to the foul line, 2-3 missed calls, which are bound to happen anyway, now what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? That puts you in an overtime game with the Orlando Magic, who in that roster is god awful. Their best player is Cole Anthony. You know what I'm saying? They got Markelle Fultz, who's played like 2 games. You know what I'm saying? That roster is, they got Mo Bamba, who's a minister. You know what I'm saying? You're in a dogfight with them. That's the point I'm making about that, is that unless Embiid and Harden drastically step it up and Tobias Harris stops stealing money, what is the stealing for the 76ers? Your third best player is Tobias Harris, who's on a max contract deal. Tobias Harris is getting max money. Tobias Harris can't throw it in the ocean. Tobias Harris is out there running. He's stealing money. You know what I'm saying? That's just nasty work right there. And it's hard to watch because Embiid is, in my opinion, I might have said, I think he's the most skilled big of all time. Toss up between him and Jokic. I think Jokic passes substantially better when you think about the smaller intricacies of basketball, mid post. Basketball is two things: dribble, shoot, pass, triple threat game. I think Embiid's over Jokic in that aspect, but it's like, dude, you gotta punish your matchup, man. It's no reason that you can't consistently play better than that. And to another point, after the Nets beat the 76ers like they stole something, James Harden is out at the club with Lil Baby, Travis Scott, the Migos, or whoever at a party. Do I hold him accountable for that? And my only rebuttal to that is don't you go out for drinks sometimes when you have a bad day at work? You know what I'm saying? I mean, does that set a bad example for children? I mean, maybe, but if an NBA player is your child's role model, then maybe you need to step it up as a mother or father. I'm not saying that's ideal. And it's not, because at the same token, it's the same James Harden who was running the stadium after a 76ers win. So you can't pick and choose when you can note the positives and negatives of a person. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, the dude go out, man. Who cares? On a max contract deal, your friends are in town, you're allowed to go out. Nobody's going to hold it against you. You know what I'm saying? He's not supposed to, we lost, we got to cancel our plans tonight. You know what I'm saying? So I just think he blurs that line a little bit. So that's just something to, consider. Just what example are you setting for the kids, man? But yeah. Same token, this past week, Greg Popovich became the all-time winningest coach in NBA history. And the debate for me is Greg Popovich the best coach of all time? And I think so. I think he's over Phil Jackson. Only other name was like Red Auerbach or Don Nelson. I think Greg's a better coach than them. When you think about what he did, Greg Popovich, it was like before last season, it was like the most 50-win seasons in a row. The Spurs were like a lock for 50 wins in the playoffs. They even won 50 games in that lockout shortened season. It was like 66 games. They won 50 games that season, so he kept the streak going for that. So I think Pop is the GOAT. I think Phil Jackson and Tex Winter drawing up the triangle offense is special in its own right. I think Pop's a better coach than Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson coached, I want to say 3 of my top 5 players ever. Right? Kobe, Shaq, Mike, Phil. Phil coached 3 of the top 5 guys ever. Greg Popovich coached 1 guy in my top 10, with David Robinson being top 20-ish, and then Tim Duncan, of course, being top 10. A lot of people have 10 me over Kobe. So you think about individual talent, we think about their actual impact on the game. And I think Phil tarnished his reputation with me with the stuff he did in New York, when he was president of operations and stuff. He stunk as a GM, so that put a sour taste in my mouth, pause, in regards to his basketball decision making. I think if you can coach, you can acquire talent, in my mind. So I think Popovich is better at judging talent and drawing up plays than Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson just inherited a couple great situations. So I'm going to leave it at that. Lastly, my predictions for the last half of the season and then we'll talk about March Madness. So my predictions for the last half of the season, as we look at the standings right now in the NBA, pulling them up right now. My notes kind of skewed. Forgive me. All right, so my predictions for the last half of the season, right? I think right now the way the seeds look, I think Miami is going to finish at the number 1 seed in the East. So right now it's Miami, Philly, Milwaukee, Chicago, Boston, Cleveland, and then Brooklyn's still fighting in a play-in game. I wouldn't be surprised if Brooklyn made it to this 3 seed. I think Philly is going to try to avoid them in a play-in. Bro, I don't think anybody wants to play Brooklyn in the first round, man. I don't care what their record is. If they say they're the 8th seed, I think they can beat Miami in the first round. So, I don't think that's – granted, it all depends on if Kyrie is cleared to play at home or not, or whatever the situation is, but I think a solution will be coming with that forthcoming. I think the Nets will say, damn that, we'll go play in New Jersey before we let Kyrie not play at home. We'll figure something out, So I think that's going to stay the way it is. I think over on the West, Memphis and Golden State might flip-flop a little bit for that 2-3 seed. Phoenix probably locked for that number 1. So the Lakers are going to try to figure something out where they can get to that 7 spot and play Memphis in the first round as opposed to Phoenix in the first round. They play Phoenix in the first round. Bron going home in the first round again. There's no way. I don't see it happening. Top to bottom. Unless Anthony Davis has a miracle recovery, because that dude has glass bones and paper skin. This dude can't stay healthy. Unless somebody comes with the Captain America serum to keep Anthony Davis healthy. If that Lakers team plays the Phoenix in the first round, they going home. LeBron's going home again in the first round. So that's just my thought process on that. But yeah, so coming in, I'm going, my Western Conference Finals is going to be Phoenix and Golden State. Eastern Conference Finals, I'm going with Philly and Brooklyn somehow, some way. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Tuning in to, so my thoughts on the NCAA tournament. Number one thing that bothered me is Texas A&M didn't make the tournament. Notre Dame did. I think that was the biggest snub in my opinion. But overall, I think the tournament committee did a great job. I think I thought, I don't know, some of them first 4 games kind of weird to me, but it's just going to be interesting to see what happens. Sleeper picks, I think Auburn is going to make a nice run. I think it maybe humbled them a little bit to lose in their conference tournament when they did. I think that's going to have an effect. Them guys are going to come out ready to play. They're actually going to play in Greenville. I'm going to try to make it out to that game. I think Duke plays in Greenville too, so I'm trying to make it to these 2 games. They put 2 great games in my backyard. I got to go see these guys play, man. A lot of lottery picks playing, so I got to show face at these events. Definitely going to be some good hoops coming around. So I'm going to dive too deep into my predictions. I'm going to actually sit down and make a bracket sometime this week. But I'm excited, man. I think this is going to be a very, very good NCAA tournament. It's going to come down to whichever teams are healthiest. You can never count out Gonzaga. You can never count out Baylor. Arizona's going to make a run. It's interesting. It's going to be a lot of good hoops. It's going to be a lot of upsets. It's going to be a lot of heartbreaks. And I'm excited, man. Lastly, I want to spend this last few minutes talking to high school athletes, right? So if this doesn't pertain to you, can step off or log out or whatever. But if it does, a high school athlete, you can send this to them or tell them to tune into this last few minutes of this episode. Go to whatever school is recruiting you, especially if you're in your senior year of high school. Go wherever you're being recruited, whether it's Division II, junior college, post-grad, NAIA, whatever. Go. If somebody is going to pay money for you to play basketball at the next level and give you a step towards something, and in my opinion, listen, it's like a small fragment of college kids that play in the NBA or play professionally. If you're that good, go wherever you're being recruited, and then you'll get an opportunity to play on the big stage. Someone will find you if you're good enough. They found John Morant at Murray State. They found him in an auxiliary gym during an AAU tournament. If you're good enough, someone will find you. So I say this to say, don't blow off the schools or the programs that are recruiting you, hoping that a bigger, like a Blue Blood or a high major school is going to call you. Don't. It's like a pretty girl wants to take you to the dance. It's the Sadie Hawkins dance, and the girls are asking the guys. Pretty girl, she wants you. Don't tell her no, or don't treat her bad. Blow her off, thinking that a supermodel is going to ask you. And now you done treated this girl bad, and now you like, well, now I don't got no date. Well, the pretty girl done found a new guy. She done found somebody else by now. So just be mindful of that. I'm not saying it's bad to have dreams and aspirations. You can have those. But just keep that in mind when you're going through these things, your recruiting process, and whatever sport. This doesn't just have to be hoops. This could be my guys on the football side of things too. The transfer portal is an MF. The transfer portal is the COVID eligibility thing, right? Especially on the hoop side of things, the COVID eligibility. It's guys that are 6-year seniors. I'm talking about grown men. These guys are 24, 25 with that extra year eligibility versus people that's freshmen coming in, incoming freshmen. Some of y'all are 17, 18. As a college coach, I'm trying to take care of my family, my livelihood. I got to go with who's going to help me win now. So don't take it personal if you're not being recruited as hard as you think you should. Get your behind in the gym and work. Yo, it'll work out. I promise you. So I say that all to say is stay poised, stay positive, make sure you're doing the right things in the classroom and on the court, and then everything will work itself out. I want to thank you all for tuning in to episode 2 of the Jordan Rules. Please don't hesitate to comment, subscribe, leave a message, what have you. We are on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Have a good one. Have a blessed day. And thank you.